Hello and welcome. We are on page number 17 of chapter 3, charge of GST of ICA material. We have to start this class by point number 5A of notification relating to reverse charge on services. Now what does this notification point number 5A state? Now the first column is with regard to the nature of supply. Now this column is nature of supply. This column is nature of supply. This column is nature of supply. Nature of supply. Now this column is the supplier. This column is the recipient. This column is the recipient. Now, who is the supplier here? The supplier is central government or state government or union territory or local authority. The supplier is central government, state government, union territory or local authority. Now, who is the recipient? Any person who is registered under the CGST Act, means registered person. Now what is the supply of a service that has been given? Renting of immovable property to a person. So the nature of supply is renting of immovable property and the recipient of service is registered person and the supplier of service is central government, state government, union territory or local authority. Then reverse charge is applicable and the tax is payable by the recipient. Moving forward to the next point, that is 5B. Who is the supplier? The supplier is any person. Mind you, if it is any person, it may be a registered person or a unregistered person or a taxable person or a non-taxable person. It refers to anybody is the supplier. Now who is the recipient? Recipient is the promoter, right? Now what is the service that has been mentioned here? Transfer of development rights or floor space index including additional FSI for construction of a project, for the construction of a project. So the nature of service that has been specified here is the supply of TDR, means transfer of development rights or floor space index including additional floor space index for a construction of a project. Now the supplier is any person and the recipient is the promoter. In this case the reverse charge applies. In this case the reverse charge applies. For this point and point number 5C, we have to know two additional points that we will know after completion of point number 5C. The next one is same. The supplier of service is any person. The recipient of service is the promoter. Now what is the nature of supply that has been made? Long-term lease. Long-term lease of land. Now what do you mean by long-term lease of land? Leasing for a period of 30 years or more will be considered as a long-term lease of land for the purpose of point number 5C of the notification given under section 9 subsection 3 of the CGST Act. Now this long-term lease is given by any person. This long-term lease is given by any person against a consideration. Important point is there should be consideration. What will be the consideration? In the form of upfront amount. In some places the upfront amount is called as premium, or in some places the upfront fees may be called as a salami cost, or it may even be called as development charges. or even it may be called by any other name also, end or for periodic rent for construction of a project by a promoter. So we will repeat this or revise this point once again. Who is the supplier? The supplier is any person. Who is the promoter? Who is the recipient? Recipient is the promoter. Okay. Now, what is the nature of supply? Long-term lease. Long-term lease means for how many years? 30 years or more. Now, this long-term lease is given for a consideration. That consideration may be in two forms. One is upfront fees or end the rent, periodical rent. So this long-term lease may be given for a single upfront fees. That single upfront fees may also be called as a salami cost, premium, or development charge, or by whatever name called, and or for periodical payments of rent. Now, why this long-term lease has been taken? This long-term lease has been taken for the purpose of construction of a project by a promoter. Now, in respect of 5b as well as 5c, we have some additional points that have to be learned. So, what are the additional points? The additional points are that in exemptions, we have an entry called TDR or FSI. TDR or FSI or long-term lease premium of land by a landlord to a developer. You may call this developer as also a promoter, because in 5b and 5c it is referred to as a promoter, right? Are exempt. So where any person supply TDR or FSI or long-term lease, the landlord is supplying this service to the developer. This is exempt. But however, there is a condition that the construction all the constructed flats are sold before issuance of completion certificate, and a tax is paid on the constructed flats. On how many flats? On all the flats in the project. Then only this exemption will apply. Else what will happen? It is chargeable. But however, it is chargeable on RCM basis. So it will go to point number 5b. So if all the constructed flats are sold before issuance of completion certificate, then these three items, TDR, FSI, long-term premium, long-term lease premium, will be exempted. If all the flats are not sold before the issuance of the completion certificate, what will happen is that will be chargeable. This exemption will not apply, and you will go to 5b, wherein reverse charge is applicable, and the amount shall be paid by the promoter, who is the recipient of the service. Now, this exemption of TDR FSI long-term premium will not be available in case of flats sold after the issuance of completion certificate. But however, what will be the rate at which this FSI or TDR or long-term lease premium will be chargeable to tax? It is limited to 1% of the value in case of affordable houses, and a 5% of value in case of other than affordable houses. Because for flats sold, affordable flats, the rate is 1%, and other than affordable flats, the rate is 5%. So this TDR will also be chargeable at this rate. However, whether the reverse charge is applicable on all the flats or only restricted to those flats which are sold after the issuance of completion certificate, we will refer to that in detail when we go into the exemptions part, etc. Okay, right. So we have concluded 5B, 5C including the additional notes also. Now we will move on to the point number 6. Now here, who is the supplier of service? The supplier of service is a director of a company or a body corporate. The supplier is a director or a of a company or a body corporate. Now who is the recipient? Recipient is the company or body corporate located in the taxable territory. This will be common for most of the cases. The term taxable territory will be common for most of the cases. So the recipient is a director, the supplier is the director, and the recipient is the company or body corporate. Now, what is the nature of supply? Services supplied by a director. Now, here we should understand by way of an example. Let us say A is a director. A is a director of X Limited. So X Limited is a company. Now when A is a director of X Limited, A will be providing services. A will be providing services to the X Limited. Okay. Now for which the director will be paid remuneration, commission, blah 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 blah, etc. So this is the supply of a service for consideration, thereby it will be subjected to GST. But however, under section 9 subsection 3, by way of a notification, the reverse charge mechanism will be applicable. Now what you have to understand is, you have to establish the relationship between the director and X Limited. Now whether the A is an employee director or not an employee, first we have to establish. If A happens to be an employee, then this schedule number 3 will come into play. Means it will be neither be considered as a supply of a good or a supply of a service. Means it will go into negative list, hence GST will not be levied. But however, this if A is not an employee, then automatically schedule 3 is not applicable, but what is applicable? This RCM, this 9(3) will come into play. That you should understand. Okay, so if A is an employee, schedule 3 comes into play, not subjected to tax. If A director is not an employee, then the 9(3) RCM will come into play. Now how do you establish the relationship between the director and the X Limited? You have to refer to the appointment of a director. In that, according to that appointment letter, you have to establish whether the contract between the director and X Limited is in the nature of employment or not. Okay, that you should understand. Right, we will proceed further. Next, seventh point. Who is the supplier of a service? Insurance agent. Next, who is the recipient of the service? The person who is carrying on insurance business, and the taxable territory. This insurance business this fellow should be in the taxable territory. Now what is the nature of service? Service supplied by an insurance agent. Okay, so agency, insurance agency is the nature of supply. Now we will take an example. Let us say Mr. P is an insurance agent. Mr. P is an insurance agent with LIC of India. With LIC of India. Now here the insurance agent will be supplying service to the LIC of India. Now what this person will do? He will go to the persons educate them, he will go to the persons, educate them about insurance, and he will educate these people with regard to the advantages of risk coverage and advantages of taking the insurance, and this fellow will make this person to subscribe to an insurance policy of this LIC of India. He will, for which what will happen is, of this LIC of India, for this what will happen is, LIC of India will pay the insurance agent a commission. Will pay the insurance agent a commission. So there is a consideration and there is a supply of service. So it will be chargeable to tax. Now in this case, the reverse charge mechanism will apply, and who has to pay the tax? LIC of India has to pay the tax. Okay. Now if you understand here, a person carrying on insurance business. So insurance business, you will have two types: life insurance business, general insurance business. Now whether what is the nature of insurance business has been specified here, it is not specified. So what you have to take, both life insurance and general insurance is to be taken into account. Sorry. We'll proceed further to the next point. So what is the next point? Who is the service provider here? A service provider is a recovery agent. Who is the service receiver or recipient? A banking company or a financial institution, non-banking finance company located in the taxable territory. Now, what is the nature of service supplied? The nature of service supplied is that of a recovery agent. Now, this also we will understand with the help of an example. So, what is the example? Let us say Mr. Ram is a recovery agent. Mr. Ram is a recovery agent. Now, who has appointed Mr. Ram as recovery agent? State Bank of India has appointed Ram as recovery agent. Now, why this Ram is appointed as a recovery agent? State Bank of India has lent money to Mr. A. Now, what is happening is, A is not fulfilling his obligation of payment of installments. He has stopped paying the installments 1 year back itself. And A is not properly responding to State Bank of India. Now, the State Bank of India, if it spends much time with A, then its business, general normal day-to-day business will get affected. So what they will do? They will appoint one recovery agent, Ram. So this recovery agent will be providing or supplying service to State Bank of India. Now, what this Ram will do? He will negotiate and coordinate with A, and somehow see that A pays the money to the State Bank of India, for which State Bank of India will appropriately compensate Ram either by way of payment of fees or commission, etc. Now here the service provider is Ram and the service recipient is State Bank of India. RCM is applicable because the State Bank of India is a banking company. The recipient can be a banking company or a financial institution or a non-banking finance company. So this provision is applicable to all these three all these three types of this provision is applicable to all these three types of recipients. Okay. Next, moving forward, point number 9. Point number 9. Point number 9. Who is the supplier of service? The supplier of service is author, music composer, photographer, artist, or like people. So, four suppliers have already been mentioned, but it may also contain some other additional people which are similar to other music composer, photographer, artist, etc. Now, who is the service recipient? The service recipient is the publisher or publisher in relation to a author, music composer in relation to a music company, producer or the like. So for author only publisher will come. For music composer, it may be music company or it may be producer or similar persons, and they are situated in the taxable territory. Now, what is the nature of supply that has been provided? The nature of supply is transfer or permitting to use the enjoyment of copyright covered under Copyright Act relating to original literary, dramatic, musical or artistic works to a publisher. These people are the service recipients. Okay. Now, what is happening is the suppliers are authors, music composers, photographers. Now, these work done by these people are covered by the Copyrighted Act. This Copyright Act. Now, what will happen is, let us take the example. Let us take the example of Mr. Krishna. Mr. Krishna. Mr. Krishna has written a book. He has written a book on how to digitally, how to improve one's digital presence. One's digital presence. He has written a book. Now, this is the original work of Krishna. This is the original work of Krishna. Now, what he has done is, he went to a publisher. He went to a publisher for publishing this book. Now, what he has done, he has transferred the right to the publisher. Publisher has got a registration of this work under the Copyright Act also. Now, what will happen? This publisher will or sometimes even the publisher may get the registration under copyright, or sometimes Krishna himself may get the copyright. But what he is doing, he is permitting this publisher to publish his work, literary work. Now, for which the publisher will pay Krishna some royalty. Now, this will be subjected to GST, but it will go under RCM. The same example can be with of a music composer. A music composer has composed a music, and what he has done, he has sold or he has allowed the use of his composition to a music company to make CDs of this composition of song, and this music company is selling the CDs, or this music company is broadcasting it in the digital media. So this fellow will pay the music composer some money. This will be chargeable under RCM. The recipient has to pay the GST. Moving forward, who is the service provider here? Members of overseeing committee. So RBI has appointed an overseeing, or the RBI has constituted a overseeing committee. This overseeing committee will have members. Now these committee will provide service to the Reserve Bank of India. The recipient is Reserve Bank of India. So the services, the what are the nature of service? Services by overseeing committee members to the Reserve Bank of India. So the services provided by the members of the overseeing committee of the Reserve Bank of India to Reserve Bank of India is covered by reverse charge mechanism, and RBI will pay the GST in respect of the amount paid for the services rendered by the members of the overseeing committee. Next, point 11, number 11. Who is the service provider? Individual direct selling agents other than body corporates and partnership or LLP. Now, if the direct selling agents happens to be body corporate or a partnership or LLP, then forward charge will be applicable. Else, reverse charge will be applicable. Now, who is the recipient? A banking company or NBFC located in a taxable territory. Located in taxable territory. So, whom do you mean by a direct selling agent? A direct selling agent is a person who sells the products of the banking company or the NBFC. Okay. Next, moving forward to point number 12. Who is the service provider? Service provider is the business facilitator. Now, who is the service recipient? Banking company located in taxable territory. Now, what is the nature of service? The service provided by a business facilitator to a banking company. Now, here also reverse charge will be applicable. Friends, here in point number 10, 11, 12, if you observe, point number 10 deals with the, sorry, not point number 10, but somewhere we have this point number 8. Point number 8 deals with recovery agent, but the recipient is banking company, financial institution, NBFC. Okay, three are included in recipients in point number 8. Coming to point number 11, it deals with direct selling agent. Recipient is banking company, NBFC. Here financial institutions are not included. Now the next point number 12 deals with business facilitator. Here only banking company is included. NBFC is not included. So now why these are included in the reverse charge mechanism? I will tell you one thing. You observe. What is point number 8, and also we have point number 11 and 12. Point number 11 and point number 12. Point number 8 deals with recovery agent. Point number 8 deals with recovery agent. Point number 11 deals with direct selling agent. Point number 12 deals with business facilitator. Business facilitator. Facilitator. Business facilitator. Okay. Don't mind about the spellings. I may be weak in spellings, but you just understand the concept. Okay. Now, these are providing services somewhere in all of them. Banking company is common. So, we will take banking company. Let us say I am appointed as a recovery agent of State Bank of India. The overall commission what I get in a year is only 15 lakhs. Mr. A is also appointed as a recovery agent. He gets a commission of 10 lakhs. Mr. B is also a recovery agent. He gets around 16 lakhs. Okay. So we are the three recovery agents for State Bank of India. For the concept sake, I am explaining you. So you understand the concept why a reverse charge is being introduced. You examine here. I do not, let us suppose I do not have any other, I do not provide any other supply except the supply of recovery agent services to State Bank of India. My turnover, aggregate turnover is 15 lakhs. When my aggregate turnover is 15 lakhs, which does not exceed 20 lakh, then I am not liable to be registered. If I am not liable to be registered, I need not pay any GST. If this happens to be forward charge. A has only 10 lakhs aggregate turnover. He is also less than 20 lakhs. He will also not register and he will also not pay GST if this happens to be a forward charge. B's turnover is 16 lakhs, which is less than 20 lakhs. He will also not register himself. He will also not pay GST if this happens to be a forward charge. But if you examine, all of us put together 15 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 25 plus 16, 31 lakhs. So all of us put together, it became 31 lakhs. But because all of us being small service providers, the government will not get any GST collection. Thereby, all the three of us, myself, A and B, will not participate in the nation building. We do not contribute to the exchequer of our country. Now, if it happens to be reverse charge, what will happen if State Bank is to pay? State Bank has to pay GST at the appropriate rate as per the tariff on the payment of 15 lakhs commission paid to me, on the payment of 10 lakhs commission paid to A, on the payment of 16 lakhs commission paid to B. So, if this happens to be reverse charge, this government is going to get GST on all the 31 lakhs of rupees individually paid to me, to A, to B. So, friends, mind you, generally, wherever the supplier happens to be a small fellow or an unorganized sector, in those cases, the reverse charge may be introduced. Not that for all the small service providers reverse charge is to be, but of course we have a provision called as 9 subsection 4, wherein if a specified classes of people procure specified goods or services from unregistered dealers, in such a case this may be applicable. But of course at the introduction of GST, this provision was there. Later on some 5,000 rupees until 5,000 rupees per day exemption was given, and thereafter this has been withdrawn completely. But in any day in the future, you may wait for this provision to be reintroduced, right? So So where in these kinds of situations generally an RCM may be introduced, right? So I gave this example for the purpose of a better understanding. And also you have the previous point deals with the business facilitator. Now this point deals with agent of a business correspondent. There is an agent for a business correspondent. That agent is providing the service to the business correspondent. Now in such a case also reverse charge is applicable. So who is providing to the service to whom? The agent of a business correspondent is providing service to a business correspondent. Next, the last point in this notification is point number 14. Now, who is the supplier here? Any person other than a body corporate. So if it happens to be a body corporate, what will happen? The forward charge will be applicable. Of course, if there is any exemption, it won't be chargeable to tax. So but for this RCM, in respect of this RCM, who is the service provider or supplier? Supplier is any person other than body corporate. So body corporate is not there. To whom the services are provided? The services are provided to a registered person. Of course, taxable territory is common for all the cases. Taxable territory is common for all the places. So any person is providing the service to a registered person. Registered person means he may be registered under the CGST Act or SGST Act or IGST Act or UTGST Act. In any of these acts, this fellow may be registered. Now what he is providing? He is providing security services. He is providing security services. Security services means what? Providing a supply of security personnel. Providing of security personnel. Now if you go to any offices, there may be security personnel. Now those security personnel may not be their own employees. What that office boss do? He will appoint a security agency. Now that security agency will have this security personnel with them. Now to this building, this security agency will allot two persons. Okay. For example, allots two persons. Now what this office person do? This office person will pay the charges to the security personnel. Now this is subjected to reverse charge. However, if security personnel are provided to a department or establishment of central government, state government, union territory, local authority, government agency, which has taken registration only for the purpose of deducting of this TDS under section 51. This similar point we have learnt in goods transport agency also in point number 1 of this notification. So because here who is the recipient? The recipient is a person, registered person. The recipient is a registered person. So if these authorities like central government, state government, union government, local authority, government agency, why did they take the registration under CGST Act only for the purpose of section complying with section 51, that is a TDS provisions. So just I will take you to the first point, GTA point, wherein we had a similar provision here. Okay, here. So this is the point, first point relating to GST. The GTA. GTA means Goods Transport Agency for transportation of goods by road. At this place we have learned that point. Okay, right. Now we'll go back to our 14th point, which we have just completed. So we have completed the 14th point, right? Now all these will also be were also notified under IGST Act. But under the IGST Act, there are two additional services which will be subjected to reverse charge. Now this we will be dealing those regarding those 2 points, we will be dealing at a final level as they are not applicable at intermediate level. Now, we have certain explanations for the purpose of this notification. The person who pays is liable to pay freight for transport located in the shall be treated who receives the services. Now, this point in the preceding class, I told you an example also. Who is the recipient of service in respect of GTA? That person who is liable to pay or who pays the freight. I told in that previous class that there are three parties. A supplied goods to B, and A is in Andhra Pradesh, Vijayawada, B is in the Hyderabad, Telangana. For the purpose of sending the goods from Vijayawada to Hyderabad, this fellow has engaged a goods transport agency. The transportation of goods by road service is provided by the goods transport agency. Now, if A pays the freight, A will become the recipient. If B pays the freight, B will become the service recipient. So that if A pays the and of course GTA reverse charge is applicable only when the GTA do not pay CGST at the rate of 6%. Okay, right. Whom do you mean by a body corporate? Body corporate will have the meaning assigned to it in section 2 subsection 11 of the Companies Act. So body corporate includes company incorporated outside India. It will not include a cooperative society, and it will not include any other body corporate not being a company as defined in the Company Act, which the central government by notification specify in this behalf. So the central government may notify that any other body corporate will, though it is not a company because it is not formed under the Companies Act. So that body corporate, the central government may notify that it shall not be treated as a body corporate. Okay. Next, this is with relation to legal services. This is with relation to legal services. The legal services, the service recipient is a business entity. The service recipient is a business entity located in the taxable territory and who is a litigant, applicant, or a petitioner, as the case may be. Now that person who receives the legal service will be the recipient of service, and he shall be liable for payment of GST. So thus in that business entity should be the litigant. It should be involved in the case, or it should be the applicant, or it should be the petitioner. Okay. Next. For the words and expressions used in this notification and not defined here, for those words and expressions, if they are defined in CGST Act or IGST Act or the UTGST Act, then or in the erstwhile service tax, they will have the same meaning as assigned to them in those acts. So if the word, any words or expressions which are used here, for those words or expressions you don't find the meaning in this notification, then if they are defined in the CGST Act or the sorry, I got it wrong. This is not the erstwhile Service Tax Act, because previously there was no act separately for the service tax. It used to be the provisions contained in the Finance Act and amendments subsequently made to the Finance Act. So this is a complete UTGST Act. UTGST Act. So if any words and expressions which are found in this notification, if meaning is not given in the notification, then if they are defined in CGST Act or UTGST Act or IGST Act, then that meaning given in those acts will also be the meaning for those words or expressions in this notification also. Now, somewhere in the 14 points, we have a partnership firm, other than partnership firm, other than company. So what you have to understand is LLP is also considered as a partnership firm. LLP is also considered as a partnership firm. So though LLP is not mentioned separately, you should understand if partnership firm is given there, it equally apply to LLP also. Moving forward, whom do you mean by an insurance agent? Means agent licensed under 42 of the Insurance Act, and who receives payment by commission or other remuneration in consideration of soliciting or procuring insurance business, including the business relating to continuation, renewal or revival of the policies. So for insurance agent, you have to take the definition from the Insurance Act. Now, somewhere in the 14 points, we have something called as renting of immovable property. Means if a central government, state government or local authority if it provides the service of renting of immovable property to any registered person, then reverse charge is applicable according to one of the points in the notification. Now, what is that renting of immovable property means? Allowing, permitting, granting access, entry, occupation or use of any such facility, wholly or partly in an immovable property, with or without the transfer of possession or control of the said immovable property, and include letting, leasing, licensing or similar other arrangement. So, leasing, renting, letting, licensing. Now these are all the components of supply which we have understood in the second chapter. And also as per schedule 2, these are considered to be provision of a service. This is a notification also refers to reverse charge mechanism in respect of services. Now, the provisions of this notification, in so far as they apply to central government or state government, then for the parliament should also be taken as a central government. The state legislature should also be understood to be state government, because somewhere in the notification, if services are provided by central government, then you have to take the you have to understand it as the services are provided by the parliament, or somewhere if you say services are provided to the central government, then you have to understand that services are provided to, it will equally apply to services provided to the parliament. Let us say goods transport agency, if it is providing service or supplying service to the central government, then this central government is a registered person, it comes under the specified recipients list of 7. Now if the central government has got the registration under the CGST Act only for the purpose of TDS under section 51 of the CGST Act, then that provision of point number 1 of notification under section 9 subsection 3 is not applicable. Okay, so there you have to understand, you if the GTA provides a service to the parliament, then also this exemption apply. Okay, there in that point number 1, GTA providing service to state government, even you have to understand that it is equally applicable to GTA providing services to the state government. Okay, fine. Moving forward, person liable to pay GST on GTA service, this we have already understood in our preceding class. We completed this part and this flowchart in our preceding class. So in this we will be skipping this item because this was already dealt in the preceding class when we were dealing with point number 1 of the notification. Now the next topic is with regard to tax payable by e-commerce operators on notified services. Now here what it is being stated is the detailed provisions relating to e-commerce operator will be discussed at the final level. But since we have a reference to the e-commerce operator in section 9 of the CGST Act, just we will have an overview of that. We will be doing this in our next class.